How's it going, everyone? What you're going to see today is attack strategies and actual defense strategies, loadouts, and it's basically an attack boat tutorial for Battlefield 4. Attack boats are a new addition to the Battlefield series, and to me a welcome one because they're so much fun. But the thing is, as much offensive firepower as you have with these, and as much carnage and as much fun as you can have with them, there are a lot you need to know about them and strategies that you should take with regard to being effective not only on output, but on defense, and also, well, not only keeping yourself alive, but benefiting the team for the best chance of win, and I'll break all of those down. Of course, with regard to, though, with every tutorial I use, everything I use is subjective. I'll give you the reasonings why I go over them, why I think they're great, why I have great success with them, and I hope you learn from it, and I hope you take something from it, but again, you don't have to listen to exactly what I say with it. If you're comfortable with something else, go with that. First, and then, well, let's get into it. The first thing I use is the primary weapon. I use the 30mm cannons. Some prefer the burst one, which is also great because I use that pretty often as well, depending if it's a lot of infantry maps. Personally, the 30mm cannons would be my overall choice, though, because they're extremely effective against armor, and they have a big splash damage effect against infantry. There just isn't a lot of negatives with these, and I'd highly advise using them as your choice if you weren't going to use the burst. But those two would be the two that I'd advise using. For the secondary weapon, you have a few choices, and you have the choice of the tow missile, the TV missile, and the Zuni rockets, and all of those can be successful in a skilled player's hands. That's no problem there. That said, my personal choice is the TV missile. It's obviously controllable, and it usually gives at least 40 damage and a critical hit, destroying mobility for a bit on armor and other attack boats. You get 2 in succession and per reload, so providing you hit both, you have an 80 damage output and the critical hit on whatever you're shooting at. In addition, it gives you the ability to hit jets, choppers, and tanks, LAVs, and that on land and near the shore. It gives extreme damage, and it increases your range of attack exponentially. Zuni rockets aren't that bad either, and are probably actually a better choice if you were trying to take out a lot of infantry along the shore. But other than that, I would go with the TV missile. You've seen a couple of clips already of me taking out helicopters with them. They're not a one-hit kill on choppers, but if they're over water, they're an insta-disable, and they usually plummet right into the water, and that guy and his helicopter are no longer a problem. So go with the TV missile there as my choice. Pretty clear one there, actually, too. With regard to countermeasures, I always use active protection. These attack boats, while amazingly powerful in terms of attack output, are quite weak with regard to taking damage. A couple of RPG hits from the shore, or other forms of damage from, say, a jet attacking you, or other boats attacking you, are often critical hits, rendering you unable to move. This is made a lot worse when other enemies see this, or if you're spotted and they contribute toward trying to take you out. Having active protection prevents at least one shot, or in many cases, minor shots in the time frame that it's actually up. So avoiding every hit counts with attack boats. You can use IR smoke as well to break locks and maybe flank if you're out of sight. But since these attack boats have a much larger turning radius and aren't too quick with regard to acceleration, flanking with IR smoke just won't happen very often as opposed to, say, using a tank or an LAV would. Active protection, I think, is the clear choice here. With regard to optics, zoom optics are my preference so that I can attack from further away and attack the coast from farther away, which makes you even more dangerous. Of course, you can go with thermal optics or any other form of optics if you choose, but zoom would be mine. I typically go with belt feeder as my upgrade. Anything that gives me a reduced reload time to unleash as much hell as possible against the enemy with something that has a ton of firepower like the attack boat is the optimal upgrade. For Camel, the obvious one again is to choose something blue to match up with the water. Now, with regard to the attack boat, it has a total of 4 seats. They have the above forms of attack I mentioned, but they're only available to the driver. They have 2 miniguns attached to 2 of the seats, which allow the attack boat to shoot things on its side. They have a 4th seat as a transport too. The thing with the 4th seat, though, is it's extremely important because it can and should be used as a repair seat by an engineer. Having someone repair in this seat is mandatory if you prefer to last very long against lots of targets. So if you're not an engineer, you're in this seat, either get out or swap with someone that is. If you don't have an engineer, you basically have to play a lot more slowly and more defensive. If you win an encounter and take damage, bear in mind that it takes about 14 seconds for you to start regenerating health. So if you don't have an engineer, you definitely have to play more conservative. The first tip I'll go over for basically everything, or the next point I'll go over will cover pretty much everything in Battlefield 4, not just attack boats, and that's to read your minimap. It'll tell you where any spotted enemies are, infantry that are threats, other attack boats, and other sorts of important information. On maps where there's attack boats, you'll only be able to capture a couple of flags of the total. Some will be too far inland for you to get to, so make sure you focus on the ones that you can. Remember that other attack boats know this as well, and they will basically be your primary threat. Remember, on average, servers taking out another attack boat buys you about 90 seconds of time that you can unleash as much hell before it will respawn back. And the thing you should always assume is that when it respawns back, that it'll probably be the same driver you just took out, and he'll be looking for revenge. So make sure you know where you are in proximity to where its spawn is, and guess how much time has gone by if you're in an area that could be dangerous to your survival in terms of him coming back to try and get you. With regard to attack and defense strategies when attacking, never stay still for long periods of time with the attack boats. You'll probably be spotted by enemies on the shore, helicopters or jets passing over, or anyone else that just happens to click the spot button. This will make you a sitting duck, because as fast as these boats are once they reach top speed, getting to top speed or their acceleration will take quite a bit of time. Infantry and RPGs, tanks, IFVs, and other forms of attack will target you if you're sitting still. Not to mention going in reverse is extremely slow as well. Adding even more to this, turning and changing directions will be a wide-angled turn and take some time. So being in motion, even if it's slow versus completely stopped, will dramatically improve how fast you'll be able to get away. Staying moving at the very least will make you a harder target. Never go too close to a shoreline. The reason again for this is that infantry and other threats will be able to hit you, but you also run the risk of beaching the boat if you misjudge the distance, a teammate runs into you, or you're forced to make a quick getaway decision if you're reading your minimap or you're in third person, or shit happens. Sometimes you make a mistake. Just bear in mind that mistakes happen, circumstances aren't always in your favor, and sometimes it happens. And the reason I bring this up is that, trust me, as a passenger to many drivers, this happens probably once a match in attack boat maps that I get in. If you're driving, stay a safe distance away and let your gunners, in addition to you, mow down the enemies on the land from a distance. Zoom optics helps here. With regard to attacking, just like other armor, try to remain concealed and flank the outside, the sides, or the back of the other attack boat when you choose to attack. Try to take out the enemy boat's engineer first, so that way it becomes a lot easier to take them out quicker and you don't have to worry about it regenerating health as you go. Same with any other vehicles out there, use your environment as cover. In the beginning clip, you saw me use the island as cover to obstruct the enemy's view of me, as well as allow me to launch longer distance attacks with the TV missile. Remember that when you use the TV missile, you can't move, so putting yourself in an area that protects you and your teammates on board is the intelligent strategy to take here. Using the TV missile is for a more defensive strategy because it's slower and requires cover. Next point here to remember too, when driving around, be suspicious of choke points, especially under bridges, if infantry likes to squat up or bombard you here, or if you see a bunch of M2 slams underwater or against a bridge, or basically a boat that seems out of place. Numerous times I've seen a boat out of place. I took a couple shots at it, it didn't take it out, and as I drive by, the M2 slams detonate the whole boat and me. So basically, if something seems suspicious, either take your time and mow things down, or just go really conservative about it, or just avoid the whole situation altogether. That's the best case scenario. Lastly, remember to spot, which is Q on PC, the right bumper on Xbox One, R2 for PS4, and back and select for PS3 and Xbox 360 for everything you see. If you know where an enemy is, that's pretty much half the battle won already. Hope you enjoyed the tips from this video. Hope you enjoyed the highlights from this video. If you actually learned from it or enjoyed it, leave a like. That always helps. And I'll see you guys later.